I'm gonna run conduit from over here to over here. Dig a trench. Let's get rolling.
So we're gonna have that run on top or underneath?
This is gonna go underneath the panels.
It's gonna run all the way over to here.
Yep.
There you go.
After I get the wire run through here, I'm gonna push this back underneath.
Okay.
I'm just gonna feed it through here, then run it up like that is, and then through this one.
Okay.
And that eliminates a lot of my work, because I don't have to drill another hole and have two cables or two pieces of conduit, nothing.
Okay. So hole will go here, and then this will go down under here, and then wiring will be safe.
Yep.
From dogs.
Yeah, I was worried about them. They run right around this corner all the time.
It's the corner because of the chipmunkers.
Easy peasy.
I got it. I just don't know how much more you want to give me.
Go ahead and pull on it. Okay. Alright guys, I got the lines run all the way from the shed over to the array here. I had just enough cable. I'm going to put some MC4 connectors on this and connect it to my array. Alright guys, I have the conduit coming through the ground up here. Really was cutting it close with the wire. I had to change where I was putting my charge controller because I didn't want to have to run a whole new line. So I may have to put a short extension on that. Looking good, pretty happy. Get some of this done and get some more power to the solar shed. Here's my array. There's my positive. There's my negative. If I run all 6 of these in series, I actually just forgot that I don't know if I'm using this panel. The charge controller that I picked up for this system will only do 100 volts and 1000 watts. This is 1200 watts and this is 22. So even if I put 5 on here, it's gonna be pretty darn close to 100 volts. It's gonna be over 100 volts, but I think it'll handle it fine because you very rarely ever get that much 100%. So, all right. Anyway, we'll work it out. Even if I just do 4 here and then put these other panels onto something else. But we need to get some more juice to the solar shed now that the days are getting shorter, temperatures are cooling off. So let's get this going and figure out how we're going to mount our charge controller. So it goes down here wherever. I'm going to connect it to these two. I'm going to put MC4 connectors on here. It goes down here underground, right next to the pole, or right next to the woodshed, up, and then under my panels. Over, I did this because then all my wires are on underneath here, even though it's in conduit in this line, coming up to here and then going right into here. But it's got to come through here, or it's already coming through here. I'm going to charge the charge controller up here, mount the charge controller up here. Then I could just, boom, I'm going to have to just extend my 8-gauge wire over to here. That'd be no problem. Here's my charge controller. I bought this inexpensive. I think it was like $100. Renogy Rover 60 or Rover 40. So, pretty cool. Cheap, inexpensive. Will run my secondary array. Renogy stuff's been pretty good to me. My batteries are good. My panels are good. Alright, there we go. I got the different style pegs on, so I can just screw it on while it's on the wall. I have to go configure my panels and figure out exactly what I'm doing. Alright guys, so I bought this kit. I believe I bought it from off of Will Prose's website. You know, off of one of his links. Probably from Amazon, but off of one of his links. Most of the stuff, from my experience, I mean, he knows what he's talking about. So, he tests stuff and makes sure it's good quality stuff before he lists it on his site or one of his affiliate links. So, saves me from buying some garbage and having it fail on me. And it helps him out a little bit. He's doing pretty well, but why not use him when, you know, he shares his knowledge and helps us out. So what this does is make MC4 connectors. MC4 connectors on your line. You can make your own. All you need is your own line. Like I have an extension here. I don't remember if I made this one or not. But you could cut your own line and install a male-female MC4 connector. So that's where my bare wires that I ran come in. They're hooked up to my charge controller already. And here is an MC4 connector without, you know, the wire hooked to it. So all we do is feed the wire into here, use the proper metal crimp or terminal, slide it all together, screw it down, and you have your own homemade MC4 connector. I bought a bunch of them. So this is a lot cheaper than buying them in pre-existing and pre-made. You know, I didn't know how much I would need of this stuff. So when I tell you my solar system costs $3,700 or $3,600, under $4,000, I wasn't chintzy. I bought a bunch of stuff because when you're up here and then you need one little thing, you ruin a whole day or a whole week or days running back and forth. So I bought a bunch of extra stuff. I don't need this much stuff, but you know what? If someone ever needs some help with it, I'll help them out. And I'll bring my box of goodies. So I gotta install these on my pre-existing wires that I ran earlier. Just gotta make sure I put the right one on the right line. So let's go figure this out. It's been a while since I did it. It comes with the tools to open them and close them and hold it so you can cinch everything down real tight. Make sure it's waterproof so the gasket seals up good. Then you get your crimping tool. This is called a Welluck LY2546B. 2.5 through 6 millimeter. Well luck. I don't know if you can see that. The GoPro's not real good with close-ups. Bought this whole kit. I don't think it was terribly expensive. No idea what it was. No idea price-wise, but... So let's crimp on a couple MC4 connectors. I'll try to show it to you the best I can. This wire will reach over here because it's not too short. So I can do this over here in the light. You might be able to see it better. So this is the other end. Here's the male. Parts. Nut. There's the nut. The crimp and the gasket. Alright. And I was thinking this had to go on and then it would pull in reverse, but you got the female and the male terminals. So this is a bigger one. Perfect. There you go. There's a little crimpet. There she is. Alright, hope you guys can see this. There's the male portion. The gasket's in there, the orange part. This little crimp goes on, and then the nut. You can tighten it down by hand a few turns. Take this, put it on your nut. Get the other one. We can really snug it down. There we go. There we go. Ready to be plugged into our solar array, but our charge controller is not hooked up to the battery yet. So we cannot hook up your, do not hook up your solar array to the charge controller until the battery's done. Probably gonna eat dinner, and then we can get the charge controller part at least started. It's not that difficult. We just have to, you know, crimp a few terminals on and make sure we have wires that reach everywhere. And I have to double check that I'm doing everything right. Alright guys, so here's what we have in the solar shed currently, and here's what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research. Here's my thing. I am not a solar expert. Like, I've replicated, duplicated, whatever, things that others have done, and I have done a lot of things now and learned a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure how safe certain things are. Here's what I want to explain to you what I think's going on. Hopefully it's not too dark in the shed to see everything. So here's our charge controller and top side here to give us all our information. The original solar array comes in here, goes to that, transfers power through the charge controller to make it useful. Or negative goes to the negative bus bar, and the positive goes through a GFCI breaker. So that should trip if this ever shorts out and starts drawing too much. Now, this goes through a 150 amp anode fuse. The only time I have added any type of additional charging to this battery bank is through this 10 amp 24 volt generator charger. This is like our backup charging system that we can hook up to a generator, and I have it hooked up directly. You know, it's fused, so I don't have any inline fuses. I have it hooked directly to the battery as well. This has never interfered with that or given it any false readings, I guess you could say. What I need to make sure before I connect everything permanently is, can I take this charge controller? Both of these have their own management system in it. Now, in the new batteries themselves, lithium iron phosphate batteries have battery management systems in them. So my question is, this manages the battery bank, and this is going to manage the battery bank, and it's going to be two separate types of 24 volt, and they're going to combine here. Are those two going to interfere with each other? But I'm just trying to find the safest way to do this. I don't think that they could cause any problems, but I could be completely wrong. I think I'm just basically paralleling them, but I don't know if they'll communicate to each other improperly and mess with each other. So I'm going to go do a little research, eat some dinner, and we'll try to continue this tonight if I don't run out of light. I don't think there's any problem with this. I just don't know if the two computers will somehow, you know, fight each other, or like if the other one boosts while the other one's not boosting. You know, that could cause issues, I would assume, because it's kind of pushing the voltages up a little bit higher. And then this one, we'll see that there's no need for for charging, and then it won't charge with our second array. I'm assuming that's kind of the brain part is going to be the problem, not anything else. All right, good morning, guys. It's the next morning. I did some research last night. Jen and I ate dinner and went for a deer cruise because we were having cabin fever. So we went raining all week. So, and no sunshine. And that's another reason I wanted to get this hooked up, because we're coming to the time of year where we get less sun and we're going to need a little extra solar. The little smiley face on our other charge controller has been concerned. It's at 23.6 volts. That's below half. That's below 50%. And AGM batteries, you're not supposed to be below 50%. But the sun is over the trees and about to get our solar array. It's already, as you can see, on the new solar array. I have that set up right now, charging one of the power stations. Because that's dead too. Like I said, we could go 3-4 days and not have to skimp much. And the battery status is yellow. Like I said, it's not happy. But this solar array will be in the sun here shortly. And this is why we like this. This is going to help us a lot. That's going to get sunlight a couple hours before our array right here does. I could cut down a couple big maples over on the other side of the cabin and get sun on this. But I really like those maples, and I tap them for maple syrup. So here's my objective today. My new wires are plugged into my charge controller. All I need to do is run a negative to the bus bar and a positive over here to another GFCI breaker like that one, and I'm connecting it to the fuse terminal there. So I'm gonna go get that started. Let's get rolling. Alright guys, let's turn this one back on, see if it resets right. There we go, 66 volts, 8. 8 amps. 24.6, 13 amps going into the battery bank. 11 amps. Pretty dead, guys. So this sunny day will help. Now we got to figure out if this is going to work. Kind of moment of truth. This is kind of chintzy. I need to put everything down. Alright, moment of truth. What am I forgetting anything? Let's see if it powers up our charge controller. There we go. Got a blinking light. Battery status, 24.8. So no solar power is going into this yet. So I gotta read the manual, but this is on. That's all that matters. I got no night mode, it says, because there's no solar coming into it yet. I don't have it hooked up at the panel. Alright guys, so I have everything hooked up other than power coming from the solar array. So I need to read the manual real quick, double check. But it's already registering 24 volts, so it must automatically, I think the other one automatically registers the voltage too. But I need to read the manual for a minute and make sure before I plug anything in. I don't need to change any settings. So give me a few minutes. Alright guys, I guess I don't really have to program anything other than what kind of lead or what kind of batteries. We got sealed. It's already automatically on sealed. The other charge controller, I had to change the amp hours of the battery bank. Okay. Gel, lithium, flooded, SLD sealed. Let's go hook up the panels, I guess.
So what am I looking for?
You should see that top light, the PV light with the little solar panel picture. That light should come on. Ready? Yep. All right, guys, we officially have 2 solar arrays connected to our solar shed and our battery bank. So we have the Renogy Rover over here pulling in from the eco-worthy tracking system. I only have 4 of the 6 panels hooked up to it because this will only accept 100 volts. They don't seem to be interfering with each other. So we have a 1,000 watt array stationary and 800 watts through the tracking system. I'm gonna probably put 1,000 on that and put the 5th panel on it, but I want to at least make sure this is okay before I get experimental. Looks good. Well, I need to tidy up the wires a bit, but there we go. 90 volts and 6 amps, almost 5.5 amps. 9 amps. It's full sun right now. 9 amps, 86 volts. So that's a good number coming from this charge controller and our stationary system. Feeding in, feeding to this fuse, going to the batteries. This one's feeding from our array. This one doesn't display the voltage and amperage on here, so I don't know how I'm supposed to tell how many watts are coming from it. That's what I was excited about, was seeing how many watts we were getting on a charge controller like this rather than plugging it into the portable power stations. But I can't do that apparently, I guess. But I'm getting 71 or 75 volts out of 88, which is pretty good. But then I'm getting this amp. It's pushing 15 amps, I believe. 17 amps, 20 amps to the battery. I don't believe I shouldn't be getting that many amps from the solar array because it's only 11 amp system. So that's got to be what it's pushing. It just seems to fluctuate more than like this amperage does. So anyway, everything's working. Battery fluctuation, this keeps fluctuating from like 90% down to 62. Maybe with the sun coming in and out. 24.7 volts for the battery bank. This one says 24.8, so they're pretty close. And then this says 24.5, so they're all reading pretty close. No amperage to my load. I believe this is how many amp hours we brought in. since it's been operational. I have to read the directions a little bit better, the schematics that tell me. There's a temperature. This is something with the load. This is an error if you have an error. But yeah, it's working. Taking power from, you can see the little arrow going left to right. Pushing power to the battery. So cool. I'm going to call that success.
Good job, young man.
Not too bad, right? Couple hours yesterday, couple hours this morning. Now what are we going to do?
Gonna be done with this video.
Gonna be done with this video, and you'll see us doing something else in the next video.
Yep. Next video we'll be continuing the work in the front room. So
Let's get her done.
thanks for tuning into this video.
We'll see you on the next one. Best wishes.